The Area Pro Series regular season is coming to an end, but that just means the intensity turns up for these final 5 weeks before the playoffs. Amongst all the challenges that drivers have faced in recent weeks includes road courses, short tracks, and a track labeled the Monster Mile, and a track labeled the Track Too Tough to Tame. If you thought you had it easy, you were wrong, and we're not quite done throwing tricks out the sleeves just yet. Tonight is the final road race of the season, and we head north of the border to Montreal and Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Canada might be well known for being full of nice people, but it's here at Montreal that the bubble fight breaks out. Hi, everybody. Kyle Heyer, joined by Hunter Sleppy and Connor Horn for our, what are we on, round 8 of the season? It feels like it's been flying by, Connor, but just 5 rounds remain until the playoffs begin, and you have to start thinking about that cut line if you don't already have a win.
They got to start thinking about points for the drivers who might not be in contention for win week in, week out, but know they can get good points by just playing the strategy right. We've seen Jeff Wright close to victory at tracks like Charlotte and fast at tracks like Sonoma, but he still sits below the cut line. You got guys obviously like Shane Theory and Braxton DeWeese who are pretty good on points, but after that, it's really anyone's game. Zachary Carr is 6th in the sheet right now, and he's only 28 points to the good. And then you got to factor in the guys who have won and are below the cut line, specifically Travis Beckner. He's won twice this season, but he's still 20 plus points behind 20th place to make that win count. So this is going to be a big opportunity for him tonight, just like it was Monday and Tuesday night, to gain some points. And this is a track where he can definitely get the victory, I would think.
Yeah, he went to victory lane once before at Sonoma, so already a factor on the road courses, and then he won at a short track in North Wilkesboro, but just needs to keep a calm, clean race car for the next 5 races, including the 9 in Montreal, in order to have a shot at the postseason. But you mentioned the guys on the outside looking in. David Weishart had a solid run going in the Cup Series until the last lap, but he's still sitting there with a solid opportunity at the playoffs. Scioli, he got a win, so he's already locked in, but he needs to keep a calm, clean race tonight, Kyle, and can't let anything get by him like you saw Monday night.
Calm, clean, cool, collected. That might have been the story of every round we've had in the last 4 or 5 weeks. Of course, we had an off week last time out, so kind of getting back into the rhythm of things at a road course, Connor. There's so many different challenges to this particular place. It's a street course, yeah, in some ways, but it's still got a lot of the handling sections and things of Sonoma, but none of the elevation change. We're still going to see a lot of tire wear tonight, and this is a pretty short race as well, so that's another thing to consider. Your pit strategy, you have a little bit of choice of when to come in, but you don't get to get all that creative here because it's only a 30-lap race.
And it's going to be not that close on field. You'd probably have to save 5 to 6, maybe 7 laps to make it to the end of this 30-lap race. Probably won't see that. We didn't see anyone try that in the truck race Tuesday night, and it was a little bit shorter even. So it is going to be interesting how people play strategy. We saw David Weishart pit early on Tuesday night. We saw some guys, we really didn't see anyone go long on their tires and fuel. And everyone pretty much pit around the halfway point, which was like lap 13 to 15 Tuesday night. It's going to be around maybe 14 to 16 tonight, and you're going to see drivers like Travis Beckner have to really play the strategy tonight, because it is hard to pass even at a track like this, because dirty air still plays a factor. The drivers in clean air are probably going to pull away, so you might need to try and undercut to get some track position for the final run of the race, but you got to keep the tires on it to even be in a position to have a good pit stop and a good sequence. And last night, the story on Monday night, Hunter, was contact getting the victory. Tuesday night, the story was kind of slowdowns, kind of negating another victory. Sebastian Mayer might have been the fastest truck. He got out of the lead when they made pit stops, but those slowdowns, especially in the final chicane, were what doomed him.
Yeah, we saw that quite a bit Monday night as well, and going to be interesting to see if we can see some guys go green all the way through without making a pit stop, but eventually someone's going to have to make a pit stop, Connor, but tire wear probably going to be a little more of a concern on these Xfinity cars than on Monday night in the Cup car.
Yeah, I think we're going to see the more tire wear than we saw on Monday. Probably similar to what we saw on Tuesday, I'd bet, Connor. But you mentioned the slowdowns and that final chicane, too. I think just keeping the car on the road is going to be as important because, yeah, the tires might fall off a couple seconds a lap. But if you're getting a slowdown every 2 or 3 laps, that's going to massively outweigh any tire loss you have.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the most tire wear we've seen all week, Hunter. I kind of got distracted by Beckner hitting the wall of champions there. That's why I didn't respond immediately, so I apologize for that. But yeah, the tires are going to be pretty important. The fall off is going to be what dictates the race for a lot of drivers. We saw a lot of drivers kind of fall off at the end of the run Tuesday night. Matthew Batby was one who just could not keep pace with the top two in Marin and Nichols. We know James Scioli can keep the tires on it in any track. We saw at Darlington how great his long run pace is. He's still very good at the road courses where he's kind of been king in the Pro Series in seasons past. Swept Watkins Glen a season or two ago. So he's definitely a driver that's going to be tough to beat if he gets clean air. He's second on the board after that lap. And you can't forget about Zachary Carr either. He's third on the board, a little faster than Nichols. I know both of them were trying their best to kind of practice those Q laps. They're going to be very important to get track position tonight. You need to qualify up at the front. And I think that tire wear is going to be pretty important in clean air and dirty air. It's going to make a difference.
And qualifying in particular, you know, a track like this when you're not expecting any yellow flags of any kind, and you've got to kind of start up front to stay up front. You can drive through, maybe a couple of cars, but if you start 15th on back, I don't think there's any chance you win. Realistically, Hunter, I think you've got to be in the top 6 if you want a chance to win this race.
Yeah, I would say so. You gotta give it your all. I mean, Travis Beckner won from the front row at Sonoma. He actually won the front row in both of his wins. And it's kind of a similar fashion. So the only row where the winner has not come from the start row, got to go back to the season opener at Daytona. Philip Groner started 12th, but was able to get the win. Other than that, every other winner this year has started from the pole or has started from second.
That's
so
a wild stat.
It's very wild. Hard to fathom, but track positioning is going to be that much more important, especially on a road course like Montreal. It's tricks and turns, and not to mention no yellows in this race. So you got to be crystal clear with how you're going to maneuver around this road course.
Yeah, so David Weishart getting warmed up here. Brad Slaughter Jr., the number 8 Supra, also getting warmed up. Pretty tentative outlap here by the looks of it. Hunter, is there some preservation going on here? Do they think that only one lap is the move here and they're just trying to keep things cool until then?
Most likely going to be only one lap. Just going to keep the tires cool for the out lap and then full send it for your first lap. You can do a second lap if you don't think you did very well in your first lap. You can come back in and then try your second lap if you make a mistake on your first lap. But I think if you get through with a clean first lap, I don't know if that second lap's going to be faster unless you just really messed up the first lap and just didn't reset. So that's going to be tough to get through that hairpin. Joey Chapman going a little wide through the hairpin. You can do that. You get a good run for the straightaway. So I think we'll see most people tight to the curb without hitting the curb. But I think it's going to be a one-lap track tonight as we'll see Weishart come through here. He's had some speed this week for top 10s. Did not get it on Monday. I believe he got it 8th on Tuesday, so he's had some decent pace.
He's also had some good pace in the Xfinity car. He finished 10th his last time out at Darlington. Also secured a good finish at Daytona to kick off the season, 3rd and then 7th at Dover. But going to want that win to secure yourself in and not have to worry too much over the next few races or so.
He really charged that first corner. Didn't get up on the curbing. You typically do want to nibble the curbing on the left there at turn 1. But he carried so much speed and he didn't get down to the apex, but he kept it tidy, Connor. So this is already looking like a pretty solid lap, I have to say. And if this is his one shot, I wouldn't be too disappointed with that opening corner.
And you really don't want to use too much curbing. You can afford to use the curbing on the inside of the racetrack, but from the fast laps that I've seen, you really don't want to get on the curbs too much. Even in that part of the track, you probably don't want to hit it. But right here, you need to hit the white curbs in a certain way to get through here. He's going to kind of avoid them, go around them a little bit, but it's a very smooth and very sturdy lap there. Really nice and tidy around those white curbings. But I think the faster drivers are going to try to push hard to go over those white curbs and get back to the ones on the left side through that chicane to get the most speed. It's going to be tough. It's going to really risk your slowdowns happening, but that is going to be the risk these faster drivers are going to take as Weishart a little squirrely out of the hairpin.
Yeah, also kind of just playing it safe with the way some of these guys are going through the curbing. Track limits are a thing, especially for qualifying, and if your lap time gets disallowed, it's not going to be good for you. So you're going to want to make sure that keep everything calm here, especially in the Wall of Champions here, turns 13 and 14, where we saw Monday night a couple of guys went over those rumble strips, and if you go over them the wrong way, you're heading straight for that wall.
Yeah, there's just a place where there's so much risk versus reward there, and Weishart's time was actually only a 41.0. It looked a little cleaner than that, but We'll see if he can maybe go again on a second lap. Travis Beckner goes to the top at a 39.8. That's a pretty solid go at it for the first time through. And Brad Slaughter Jr.'s on the braking down here into turn 13.
If you compare Beckner's practice and qualifying times, they're almost identical. It is pretty crazy. Slaughter's going to come through, try to put a time good enough for maybe a top 3 out of the 6 or 7 who put a time down, and he will go up to 5th. So a little ways off Beckner, maybe 2.5 seconds. Zachary Carr could be a threat tonight. He goes second on the board, but 0.6 of a second off a provisional pole for Travis Beckner. But if he can start in the top 5 or 6, he could be a threat. He was very fast at Sonoma before Scioli hit the tire bundles and really messed things up. As we got the USA pedal cam from Justin Munsell tonight, he could also be a threat. He went 3rd on the board just then.
I feel like he's been long overdue for that win. We say it time and time again, but I feel like at some point the straw on the camel's back has to break, where very similar to Sheldon Creed in real life, where he's just really good but just has really, really bad luck, and still waiting for that first win for both guys. But if he can keep a clean car tonight, Kyle, I feel like this guy's going to be in a good shot to win.
Yeah, that qualifying lap was pretty impressive, and I love that he's given us the onboard here, the pedal cam, just to kind of watch the nuance that has to happen. He squeezes back on the throttle. You can't just pound it to the floor. You've got to really squeeze on throttle. And then in the braking, you see that quick lift there to get the shifting done, and then back onto the brakes, blip, downshift. It's really cool. No, you don't have to use that clutch pedal for anything other than to get away. It's all dog box transmissions in these cars, and Munsell putting it to good work. I don't know that he's going to go faster on his second lap, but Zach Nichols went P4, Bell P5, and others that are on track right now include Jeremy Miller, Braxton DeWeese in the 13, one of the lone Fords. Not a whole lot of these things out here tonight.
No, and he's been a kind of a standout driver this season in one of those rare Mustangs. 4th in points, well off Nichols and Groner, but still a great season. Plus Groner not here tonight due to sickness, so he'll gain on the second place driver in points as everyone else will. But he's had a very consistent season. This is going to be a difficult task at the road course to keep that consistency up, as he went a little bit wide, kind of messed up the braking in the hairpin, some wheel hop possibly, as he'll probably have to gear up for a second lap here. He does have time for it.
Yeah, his worst finish actually came at the previous road course race in the Pro Series, where he finished 12th. So if that's your worst finish, you're doing something right if you're Braxton DeWeese.
I'd say so. Onto the brakes down for turn 13. Critical part of the racetrack. Can't get too aggressive here. Big hit on the left and right, and that was too much. And he's going to have to likely go again here, because that will absolutely just destroy the lap time that he has spent time building. A 43.4. That's going to drop him outside of the top 20. So he's got work to do. Here comes Scioli down into the hairpin.
And this is the lap I'm interested in seeing. Scioli and Nichols kind of went out at the same time. You could see Scioli not getting on the curb through their hairpin, just wrapping the white lining around it. He'll use a little bit of the curb on the left side just to get the straight line speed that he wanted out onto the straightaway. So you could see with this setup, the front end kind of lifted up a little bit. And that's the issue with that final chicane. You need to slam the ones on the right just to set yourself up for the ones on the left. If you don't hit the ones on the right enough where you need to, you're going to be in the wall of champions or just generally slow. But you can see right there, Scioli slammed the ones on the right-hander, but didn't even really hit the ones on the left. This is a very, very smooth lap to the line. 39.747, top of the board, with Jake Nichols still to come across the line. He's out of the hairpin just now.
And I think he made it all up, Hunter, in this 13-14 complex. Connor pointed it out that he hit the rumbles on the right, but not on the left, and that allows you to kind of shortcut that as best you can. Watch this again. He's going to hit the ones on the right, boom, and then avoid the ones on the left, and that's how you get through there really quick. That could have been a 10th quicker right there than everybody else, and that's potentially what got him pole position. Here comes Nichols.
Yeah,
Nichols
in the 73.
Excuse me, he was fast as well, but a 40.6, probably not what he wanted. If we can back that up, he really missed the final chicane, and he kind of wheel hopped himself into that corner, couldn't set up properly. It's even a little bit before that. He got through there cleanly, but lost a lot of time just getting into the zone.
Connor, got some guys.
Oh, sorry, we keep cutting you off, Hunter. Go ahead. Your turn.
Story of my life. Still got guys out here trying to put down a lap time. Still a lot, actually. Looking at Blaze McKinney. We were looking at Okresic right now. Even the 8-8 of Justin Sogak. I'm not sure if you want to skip qualifying, because it's just a recipe for disaster. You're going to have to work your way from the back to the front. No yellows. And here comes the 14 across the stripe. Is it going to be enough for pole?
Nope.
42 flat.
Yeah, 42 flat's not enough. Rafe Slate in the 98 on his second go. He's going to be the last driver to put a time on the board. Everyone else, I think Jake Nichols is going for a second lap potentially, but Rafe Slate, big wheel hop into turn 13.
41-1 for Furness puts him 10th, and Rafe Slate's going to slide out of the corner there. Probably not going to be the greatest of laps. Jake Nichols should get this final lap done, as Slate's just not even going to bother getting to the line in one piece. Nichols is out of the final hairpin, the only hairpin. He will get this lap in. He'll get one down. Greg Mitchell, no one else is on track. This will be the final lap.
The worst he can start is 4th as he rolls through 13 and 14.
Good.
Looked pretty good. Will it be good enough to dethrone Skylerly for the pole?
I don't know if it's a pole, but it might be a little better than he ran previously, and it's a 140.3, and he jumps that car into third place, Connor.
Jumps his teammate to get on the other side of row number 2, and I think he'll take at least the improvement there, but he'll probably be ruining that mistake in 13 and 14, maybe costing him pole, but we'll see what the race pace is like as Scioli gets pole, Beckner in second. Those two together, always a showdown, whether it's beginning, middle, or end of the race. Always going to be a show. That dive into turn 1 going to be very important. We saw Sebastian Marin kind of shut off John Hall in the initial start on Tuesday night just by cutting them off. We could see something like that tonight.
I'm pretty excited to see how things fold here. Race fans, be sure to subscribe to the Area iRacing Twitch channel. As a subscriber, you'll have Area iRacing emotes to use in the chat and earn double channel points that you can use to redeem for free merchandise for just $5 a month. Join today at twitch.tv/Area iRacing. And of course, our replay partner this evening is Henry County Motorsports Park. Racing is back at the Henry County Motorsports Park. Join us on September 14th to see UMP open wheel modifieds, street stocks, factory stocks, and more. Tickets are $15 for adults with discounted prices for seniors and teens, and kids ages 5 and under are free. Come see racing at the southernmost dirt track in America, located in Clewiston, Florida, off US Highway 27. Visit henryracing.com for more information. Well, with qualifying out of the way, Connor, you pointed out that Travis Beckner and James Scioli are potentially the favorites and starting alongside each other. But, I mean, looking at the points picture, are their goals different? Scioli's got to win. He does, but he's P3 in the playoff standings as it stands. But we've got, of course, Travis Beckner, who's sort of on the outside looking in as far as points. So is his goal different, or is it just go win another race?
Let's just go win another race. No, and Travis Beckner, he races aggressive, he races hard, and he races for wins. I don't think his point situation is going to change how he races, not only this week, but in other weeks when we go to Rockingham, Texas, so on and so forth. His goal is the same, Scioli's goal is the same. They're both going to try to beat each other to turn number 1, and we saw that be a pretty interesting battle at Sonoma. I believe it might have been between these two, actually. But Beckner, I think, qualified second, but he won the battle up the hill at Sonoma to get the race lead, and it eventually worked out for him to get the victory tonight. Could be another very important dive into turns 1 and 2 for the 7 and the 27. But like Kyle was noting, Hunter, Beckner does need to at least try to get some points tonight. Having 2 wins and still being 20 plus points behind 20th, that's a pretty interesting hill that he's got to climb.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that happens. And not only that, but the 7 of Skylerly as well. He can't afford a bad mistake like he did at Sonoma. He got the lead, and then that last turn, in turn 11, is what ended up getting him. Not sure how on earth he hit the tire barriers, but going to want to be careful in the last couple of corners at this track, because one bad move and you're heading straight for that wall.
Travis Beckner is in the warm-up period here, getting a look at the racetrack before we go green. Bryce Senesac is also giving us an onboard tonight, and then Justin Munsell giving us the pedal cam here this evening. And a pretty good field size here. Last road race of the season. Connor, is there anybody else that you think is maybe road course forward that would like to utilize this to push forward into the playoffs, or are they too far down the order to be a factor?
I think Zachary Carr, he's not too far down the order on points. He qualified 4th tonight. I think he's always a threat at road courses, but this is definitely a taller task than he's used to in these leagues. But qualifying 4th is pretty good, a little better than other tracks, like I think better Sonoma, but he's always been qualifying top 5 all season. Justin Munsell could be a threat. Matthew Bell's got some decent pace at the road courses as well, and he is a little further down the points picture as well, 18th in points, but 18th in points is only 19 points back of that 12th place cutoff, so anyone's in play here.
I'm not sure. Is he in the field tonight? Alex Bell?
Yes, he is.
He is. Okay, I was going to say, that's going to be my guy to watch out for. He made up 6 points positions over the last race. He had that top 5 finish at Darlington, breaking off a streak of bad finishes. 25th, 16th, 32nd, 20th, and 25th in the previous 5. So making up spots left and right, and the points going to be a little bit closer tonight. Going to have to keep an eye on that Alex Bell machine.
Well, warm-up here is almost complete. Drivers getting a couple more laps around Montreal before they have to do it 30 times around. And we've seen trouble here, not only last night, but on Monday. Some of it self-inflicted, some of it car to car or truck to truck. But this place is rough and tumble, and in some ways it's got a lot of similarities to Sonoma because, you know, think about that lane choice. You've got the left-hander, turn 1, and the right-hander, which is really your primary first turn, just like at Sonoma, how turn 2 is really your first real corner. Same story here. Before we get started, Central Mobile Homes is our starting grid sponsor. If you're looking for a small or large home, a new shed, or a Triple Crown trailer, look no further than Central Mobile Homes. They've been proudly serving Florida customers for 28 years with a plethora of small and large home floor plans, shed designs, and Triple Crown trailers. Available on the Bell, Okeechobee, Clewiston, and Sebring. Head to centralmobilehomesinc.com to get started today. Weather, have a look. 111, it's going to change here shortly, Connor, to give us a real picture, but it is a little warmer than it was on Monday and Tuesday. And you already mentioned tire wear. We're going to see the most of it. How do you preserve your tires, and how much should you preserve your tires? Will you take them on a pit stop even?
You will take them on a pit stop tonight. I don't think there's going to be any question about that. You're going to really try hard to save the rears. We talk about the rears all the time at every road course, but it's still especially important here at a track that's flat. You don't really have elevation change to maybe save the rears a little bit. You got to do it all on your own. You need to be very careful on throttle throughout your long run on your tires. You need to be maybe short shifting a little bit at certain points just to get through there a little bit cleaner, and keep your exits tidy. There's a lot of corners where you can track out the driver's left or driver's right, but just keeping it close to where your apex was, I think that'll save the rear tires even better than most other drivers can. And I think you're going to want to have to save a little bit for the tail end of your long run at this initial run before you get the pit stops. If you can do it while holding up some others, that's great. Give yourself some clean air. Maybe when you want to push the tires, you can get on going and get away from everyone behind you. That might be an interesting thing that we see drivers do tonight as well, because that clean air is going to be important for saving the fronts. You're not focusing on saving the fronts too much, but they will matter if you can pull that off.
Noticed also some of the drivers sitting on grid had the engines shut off. Now I think they've started them back up now again, but maybe considering saving fuel a little bit as well. This race will take us about 50 minutes flag to flag, running a little quicker than the trucks the other night, so it should be about the same. This is a pretty short race here for the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series, and we're about ready to get rolling here on our pace lap and a half. It's a 35-car grid with James Scioli up front and Matthew Rodriguez out back. Let's roll through our Central Mobile Homes starting lineup. Let's kick things off with the front row, and it's maybe to no one's surprise, James Scioli and Travis Beckner, Connor, kicking things off out front.
And it's going to be a big dive into turn number 1 and 2 for those drivers. Jake Nichols and Zachary Carr, two fast drivers. Nichols is going for the sweep. Last person who did, I believe, was Scioli at Watkins Glen. So Nichols is trying to do that, but Zachary Carr is trying to spoil the fun, get his first career win. He starts 4th.
Justin Munsell giving us a pedal cam tonight. He rolls off 5th place in the number 6 Toyota Supra. And Zach Nichols rolls off 6th place in the number 44.
And both those drivers are going to the rear of the field with EOL penalties, as is Matthew Bell, who clocked in 7th position. All 3 drivers, 5th to 7th, going to the rear. Greg Mitchell will start where he qualified, or at least 1 row up. He qualified 8th.
David Weishart starts in 9th place, and John Furness starts in 10th. Those guys will get to keep their starting spots.
Yes, they will. Scioli backs up the Classic as Beckner follows him. They always do that. We do that in every series. Bryce Senesac starts in the 11th position. Matt Kemp back in the series for another start. He starts 12th.
Jeremy Miller rolls off in 13th place, the number 30. Doesn't have an EOL this week. That is unusual, but he'll start in row 7. Cedric Hunter in the 70 car starts 14th.
Yeah, this series is a different story for Jeremy. Alex Bell will start in the 15th position. Only 8 points, I believe, good to the cut line. He needs a good start tonight. Connor Okrezik, same thing. He starts in 16th.
17th place, it's Ben Pierce in the number 65. And Justin Anasogak in the 88 rolls off alongside him in 18th place.
You see the EOLs dropping to the rear. Braxton DeWeese, 4th in points, but starting a little further back than normal. He starts at 19th position. Brad Slaughter Jr., Truck Series champion, back in 20th position.
Casey Licata's 21st in the number 50, and then it's Colin Fambro in the 18. He starts 22nd.
23rd position goes to the 84 Shane Abbey, who I believe also did have an EOL. Saw him drop to the back.
And a drive-through.
He has a drive-through penalty, so we've seen a lot of drive-throughs this week, but you can get a top 20 out of it. We've seen that. He was going to start 23rd. Bronson Stafford will start 24th.
And in 25th place, it's going to be Shane Theron in the number 9 car, and he'll start alongside John Forbes Jr. in the 78, who starts 26th.
27th position, Garrett Grant, always in the number 5 Camaro, and then Brody Falliger in the 42, another Camaro starting 28th.
29th place, Alex Weaver in the 29 Supra. Alex Bryson in the 38 starts in 30th place.
Just outside the top 30, the 60 Coca-Cola Supra of Joey Chapman alongside Ed Robertson, a staple of the series, back in 32nd today.
33rd place, Blaze McKinney in the 87. He'll head to the rear. Ray Slate in the 98 will follow him there, 34th.
35th position, the last starter of the night would have been Matthew Rodriguez. I don't believe he's in the session, so we should have a 34-car field tonight as McKinney and Slate, they didn't qualify because they had those EOL penalties, and it's a big race for McKinney. I believe he only came into the night 3 points above the cut line, so it is not a great night to have an EOL penalty if you're in a points battle.
And it is hot, Hunter. Track temp 120 degrees. That's warmer than we practiced or qualified tonight.
Yeah, warm track, going to be very slick, especially on these lefts and rights, especially this part of the racetrack, turn 6, turn 7, going to be really tight. This is a good passing zone for some guys as well, where you could see some contact being made like we saw Monday night with Jake Nichols and Seth Knoll. So, not sure if it's going to happen again. Not exactly teammates, but could be just mano-a-mano going through that corner.
Here's one of your trouble spots. This is the turn 8 chicane. That curb on the right and the curb on the left. You can straddle them, but you can't go over them. We saw a lot of slowdowns here. We also saw tons at turn 13, the final chicane that sets you up for the front straightaway. Risk versus reward, tire management, fuel management. It's all in the minds of the drivers here. In some ways, a bit of a relief after the conclusion of the night, Connor, because this is the last road course race. There's a lot of drivers that don't like doing this, so you can focus forward on Chicagoland, Rockingham, Texas, and Talladega from here on out.
Yeah, I don't like them in the Cup car, but I do like running road courses in the other cars. I just don't run these leagues. But yes, there's a lot of drivers happy that we're going back to ovals. But guys like Beckner, like Scioli, Carr, Nichols, their guys like, no, we need like 5 road courses. We need more of these. I'm sure Scioli wished he had more. He already has 7 wins at road courses in this series, and we don't even run him that much. So that shows how dominant he is at these road courses. But tonight, it's going to be a tough challenge to get through turn number 1, get clear of Beckner, especially from drivers left. Like you were talking about earlier, Kyle, is a similar story to Sonoma.
Well, pick me a winner, Connor. Who you got winning this thing?
I'm going to go, I feel like it's a running joke I picked Zachary Carr, so I won't pick him. I think Jake Nichols does the sweep.
And Hunter, who you got?
I'll take the 7 of Scioli.
Well, I'm going off your stat earlier. I'm going to take the 27 to Travis Beckner. He's my boy tonight. Pace car rolls off into pit lane, and the field rolls through the last turn and gets set to go racing here in Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, Montreal, Canada, north of the border, the last road race of the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series Season 6 season. We're underway at Montreal.
Scioli did not get through the start as well as he should have. Beckner's going to get the lead again.
Fanning out double wide and even 3 wide towards the back half of the field, and all these cars got to try and fan out through that tight section in turn 3.
So far, so good. The leaders make their way through, but it gets so elbows out here on the opening lap. Just you got to go so much slower than you want to go, especially for those that qualified well but had EOLs, like Justin Munsell, for example. He's buried in traffic, 29th place at the moment.
And single fouled out for the most part, but Ben Pierce and Brad Slaughter start the 2x2 at near the middle point of the field. DeWeese is there. I believe the 50 is there as well on the inside as they try to sort out before some of these corners. There are a lot of passing zones like down here, but it's tough to go through there side by side, but I can see 2 drivers trying it.
There's DeWeese looking to get around Pierce, and he's going to do just that.
Oh, heard someone scrape the wall leaving turn 9 here. That's a common place to do that. The car just drifts out slightly off camber on the exit.
A spin. Justin Munsell spun at the back of the field.
Just like that, from bad to worse.
3-point turn to get that thing back rolling, and not sure if he got off the corner too hot.
Offline there, and around he went.
No grip out there. We haven't seen anyone exit that wide, and that might have been a product of that. So it's almost like a double EOL as we get through one lap mostly clean. Beckner to the race lead. Like we're talking about, same thing as Sonoma. Skyley just doesn't get the start he needs. And Beckner, Miller just hit the wall of champions hard there. Kept it straight, but there might be right front damage there.
Luis, too.
13 as well. But we're talking about Skyley again. Not a great start, and he relinquished the lead. Beckner was clear even before turn 1.
Yeah, I'm not sure what went wrong on that start there. And saw Jeremy Miller, and then I think Cedric Hunter was the car behind him that also got into the wall there. And there goes the
Ben Pierce.
61 into the 65 of Ben Pierce, and he's got to roll that thing back around.
Yeah, just got tangled up there, and one car trying to turn more than the other. Blaze McKinney's got major damage in the 87. That car is broken. Still navigating the racetrack somehow, but he will have to take that car to the attention of pit lane.
I'm not sure where he got it. He probably might not need the pit immediately, but a lot of rear end damage is going to kill some speed on that 87. Like he said, he's barely on the cut line, not the night he needs, as Chapman and Abbey might have had some contact in the background, but it's been mostly clean at the very front. Looks like we have our first slowdown. Matt Kemp in the 51 dropping a little bit further back as he'll drop to the 9th position, maybe the 10th position, as Miller's going to have maybe a dive deep into the hairpin as he's going to make that move. And I think Kemp is still having to give up time, as really tight on the exit with him and Okrezik. That's the first of the slowdowns. That might have been in that backstretch chicane.
And fortunate to not make contact with Okrezik. Would have been a little worse for the 51 and especially the 14 as well, but a lot of spaced out racing through the first half of this field. Beckner still controlling by 7 car lengths over Scioli.
Yeah, he looks comfortable at the moment. Was checking the mirror, though, so I don't know if he feels confident he can just light the afterburners and drive away. He was quicker than Scioli last time, but not by a whole lot, so we'll keep our eyes on that. Kemp off the slowdown is all over Jeremy Miller down here at turn 1 for 9th.
Yeah, that's the one. Miller slid in the one there. But that's the thing about having slowdowns. If you mess up, you get probably put behind drivers that you're faster than as he lights up the rears out of turn number 2. And that's going to get Connor Okrezik an opportunity right down here. Not a really obvious passing zone, but he's going to try it. Kemp fired it in there. Got really loose on their braking, but he's going to give that up on exit. Let Okrezik get back to the rear bumper. That's kind of the risk versus reward trying to send it through there. You don't get your exits very well done here, as here comes the same corner. Nichols and Forbes.
Bad place on the racetrack. Blind exit here, and they're going to get hammered by a couple of cars.
Alex Bryson, Rafe Slate.
Still trying to keep it straight.
I'm shocked that didn't happen any of the other 2 nights, that part of the track. A wreck happens there, there's nowhere to go.
Weaver? Whoa, my gosh. Chapman went wide just to avoid that.
Yeah, it was a real mess, and it all started back
there goes Shane Abbey spinning. Right into the replay, Shane Abbey's going for a loop-de-loop.
Okay, Fox.
Yeah, just right there. They just get tangled right in the center of the corner, and then not anything that these drivers can do. And then just because I got called out for it, let's watch Shane Abbey go for a loop.
Yeah, it's a bad timing, as this is same thing as the other corner with Munsell, just too wide on exit.
He got hit again.
Grip there, and that was Justin Munsell who got involved in that. So he has even more damage, as I think he quit. He's all to forward and out of the race.
Yeah.
And that 84 is... Yeah, that 84 is pretty total. Right front's towed out.
Oh, and one car back there looked like he completely missed the last couple of turns. I'm not sure what car that was. It might have been Anna Sogek in the 88, but
yes, it was.
Jeremy Miller and David Weiss are nonetheless still duking it out for 8th.
Little tight quarters there. I'll give you one missed chicane tonight, but you can't afford to keep doing it. It just undoes every other ounce of tire saving that you do. You lose a couple seconds in one go.
Oh my gosh. These guys are getting really comfortable with their curbing. Some of these guys are going in the grass
that wasn't curbing. That was all grass. Trying to cut the corner to get by the 51.
You guys need to tune into the GR Cup Series from Barber last week. They were turning in so early that they had their right side tires on the inside edge of the curbing, like the side that touches the grass. On a left-hander, their right front tire was on the inside of the curbing, like full-on course cut, just because they were throwing it down there in such commitment. It was wild.
Kemp just did it again. He didn't even come close to the curbing that time. He's going to give up even more time because of it. This is the one driver I'm seeing that he's giving up so many positions. He was in about 8th position. He's outside the top 10, make it top 11 almost. Probably have to let Alex Bell by. I did see, I believe, Greg Mitchell had to slow down. He was 5th. Now he's about 8th position. As you can already see some drivers costing themselves.
And not even 5 laps in, some of these guys pushing envelope a little too soon on some of these passes and some of these turns on the track. As see right behind the top 10 there, it's Matt Kemp trying to hold off Alex Bell. Did mention he's working his way up through the points, so going to need a strong run to keep this going. And he's just outside the top 10.
Out front, though, Travis Beckner in what seems like clear command. I mean, he's just edging away a couple hundredths a lap, so maybe the long-term pace is something to look at, but he has been pretty consistent so far.
He's got the lead to about a second, so he has clean air. Skyley's air is not fully dirty, but it's not fully clean either. As you can see, these top 4 have pulled away already. They about 3 seconds from 4th place Jake Nichols to 5th place John Furness. So these 4, not very surprising to see them pulling out even further than the rest of the drivers. But John Furness is in a great spot too. He's in the top 5, and he has all the air in the world and no one to battle.
Yeah, looking at these lap times here, already almost a second off for the front 2. Beckner and Scioli that last time by, 141.5, about 0.7 of a second off their fastest time. But Zachary Carr was about almost a full second off his fastest lap. And like I mentioned, just 5 laps in. Very important about tire wear today.
And Matt Kemp again at turn 8. Oh my gosh.
Sooner or later, got to back it down, but that time that was the same thing. Just didn't make the corner even.
For 3rd.
Does Zachary Carr slow down or just giving way? I think he's just giving way to his teammate there. Don't think he got to slow down anywhere.
Oh man, Jake Nichols, you heard the bottom of the car ground out. And again, I think it helps that these suspensions are so much softer than we saw on Monday. But you got to be cautious not to tear up your stuff. Alex Bell and Okresic. Whoa, Matt Kemp. Wow. Well, that one wasn't intentional, and I don't think he'll get away with it either.
Yeah, he's struggling tonight, and he's just left the Alt F forward, so he's not even going to bother. This was the last straw with him, I suppose. Not even close.
He just did not get a feel for his
looks
car.
Cool.
Braxton Deweese and Justin Anasogak are nose to tail here. Deweese in 15th place, up 4 spots from where he started and now putting pressure on 14th.
I think he is faster than the 88, just going to have to figure out a way to get by him. We saw how long it took him to even get by Beckner, and I don't think he really ever did get by the 27 at Darlington. Almost a similar situation. He's going to have to really duel the 88 here to get that position, and Sogak won't let him go easy. But he has plenty of passing opportunities to choose from if he wants to. Not going to get close enough here.
Deweese just buying his time, just trying to log in some laps and strike with opportunities right as the 42 of Brody Falker. He's up about to make it 10 spots since the start of the race, trying to get around Colin Famber on the 18.
Well, side-by-side contact there. The racetrack's wide enough for both, not of those trajectories. And Famber will hang on for now, but going down to the hairpin, this is a big dive bomb opportunity.
We saw that go wrong with Patrick Moose and Ricky Springer on Tuesday as Matthew Bell gets a little contact from the 42. They're almost 3 wide, but Falker got up the inside, kind of spooked Fambro. So he's almost going to get that position, but not enough grip on exit. They're going to go side by side up into the final chicane. And we saw on Tuesday as well, side by side into that chicane does not work. You got to sort it out.
Yeah, it looks like Falker is going to be the one to send it on the inside. Actually, no. Famber's going to try and outbrake him going into 13.
And he did it,
Falker,
I think.
Wow. Yeah.
Here comes a crossover. What a move by Falker. He backed it up just enough to get back to the inside. Look at Matthew Bell. He's going to go 3 wide, trying to. Falker put the block on him. That was, this is dangerous driving, but Falker's going to get him.
Bell to the inside. Oh, so he had to take it a little bit wide there on corner entry, and now we'll be able to set sail.
I think that's a course cut for the 43, I think, too. That was pretty aggressive. If he got away with it, he's lucky. I think he did. And he'll tuck in behind Falker and ahead of Colin Fambro, who's down 2 spots. Out front, things are getting spicy.
Yeah, last time by, about 6-7 tenths of a second, Skyley was faster than Beckner, so he has reeled him in a little bit. I think he might have seen the 73 get the third, and flashbacks to Monday start popping up, thinking, okay, I got to get away from him. And not teammates tonight, so not as much maybe leeway given to the 73 to the 7 this time. They might be battling for second before they get the Beckner, but if they battle too long for second, that could let Beckner get away, get him the gap he needs. That battle's heating up. Battle for sixth is pretty tight, too. You got a 4-car kind of mash up, Senesac back to Weishart in a line here. Got 2 4-car lines in the top 10 forming.
Yeah, this main one up here being led by Beckner and trying to increase that gap as Skyley's trying to diminish that with the 73 all over his rear view mirror. Zachary Carr just cruising in fourth, and the same can be said for John Furness. He's got no one within 3 seconds in front of him or behind him, so he's just kind of on his own little island.
Zach Carr started fourth, running fourth. I think he'd really like for these front three to get frisky with each other here and maybe create some chaos. Here's Alex Bell and Okresic back at it again. This is down into turn one. A lot of wheel hop tonight, more than we saw on Tuesday, and Okresic runs out wide.
Almost had a Tagliani
yeah, I remember
situation.
That, yeah.
Was that Tagliani
Yeah,
or could have been Villeneuve?
Both. I think it was both.
And Okresic stopped on track and then got back going. I guess he had to slow down. Instead of just driving slow, he just stopped to serve it, so he gets back going, losing some positions. Zach Nichols has already got some damage on the rear and the front, but he's going to get by the 9 of Shane Theory.
I remember it was Tagliani getting knocked out of the way by Villeneuve, or maybe vice versa down there.
I remember that one.
Yeah.
Him and Villeneuve coming together. I think that was a year after, but I remember the one where I think Villeneuve missed turn one, then just bulldozed Ambrose turn two.
It was a madhouse here for a couple of years, wasn't it?
It's like the debut of this track when Robbie Gordon thought he won the race. Then him and Ambrose. A lot of memories at this track.
Carl Edwards using a Swiffer to clear the windshield off.
Ambrose blowing it in the final corner.
Oh, man.
To Edwards.
I still don't know why they ever left this place.
Wanted a cup race, and NASCAR wouldn't give it to him.
Whoa. 13 trying to get the 8. 8 hit the grass on entry, but yeah. I think the Xfinity Series would still put on a heck of a show there. I'm not sure about the cup cars, but you never know. As 7's there, not to make a move quite yet, but definitely lurking. 27 does not have as much leeway as he did earlier, Hunter.
Connor, I know he's closing the gap, but is there any way that 7 could be saving fuel? And is that maybe a reason why he hasn't pushed an envelope yet with the 27 of Beckner?
I don't think you're going to be saving fuel tonight. I don't think it's going to be like Sonoma where you can kind of pick and choose where you want to save your fuel. Because I don't believe we saw pit stops on Thursday. We're going to see Bronson Stafford come in lap 9 of 30. But maybe he was saving tires, but I don't think he's saving fuel to try to make it. Zach Nichols is also going to come in as well. This is early, but I wouldn't say fully unscheduled.
So some pit stops already at the 1/3 mark, roughly, of this race. I think for Beckner, he's just got to still remember to drive calm here. He's still got the lead. He's got to force Skyley to drive around him, but don't overdrive and get yourself a penalty and have to give it up yourself. We saw how that worked out on Tuesday. Here comes Scioli.
Yeah, he just entered that chicane a little too hard, didn't get the run out, and that's going to let Scioli maybe try a crossover. They make contact there into the braking zone. Watch Jake Nichols see what he can do from back here as the inside line is going to prevail. The 27 keeps the lead, but that's the first crack shown from the 27 to Beckner, overdriving due to the pressure from the 7 of Scioli.
Nearly a third of the way through, we had our first real battle for the lead besides the initial start. Meanwhile, Senesac looking to keep the 2 of Greg Mitchell at bay, but it looks like Mitchell's going to be able to get around the 09. Might have had a little course cut there for Senesac as Beckner tries to hold on through 14.
Wow, the aggression level through there is really ramping up. And this is an opportunity for someone like Carr, Connor, to just let this happen and let them burn up their tires and maybe try to strike a little later.
I think that's exactly what him and Jake Nichols are doing. I think they're fine with letting Scioli and Beckner battle because they know the track record between those two. It's just crazy how even these 4 are right now. Zachary Carr is actually the fastest of the 4 last time by, and then the other 3 were within a tenth of each other. And even as John Furness's pace is not too bad. He just didn't get the 5th place in time to really stay with these drivers, but he stayed consistently 6 seconds back as Slaughter and the 13 of DeWeese are going to do battle, but DeWeese is finally going to get that 14th position.
like Slaughter got on the grass there and had to keep that car from spinning out as Garrett Grant's going to go a little bit wide and just tip the grass a little bit.
This place puts on great racing. It gives you so many opportunities to burn yourself, but also to overtake and to make big lunges. And the harder you drive it, they're up to a limit, you find speed, but after to some diminishing returns, you just end up hurting yourself. And so finding that ragged edge is where the good drivers separate from the great ones. Lap 10 of 30, battles all over the track, but the lead has fizzled for the time being.
Yeah, that lap has been pretty solid from Beckner to pull back to 0.6 of a second in front of Scioli, as that battle for about 6th is still heating up. That's actually 7th. Bryce Senesac and Jeremy Miller are close to each other. Miller got almost in the grass trying to get inside of the 09. Greg Mitchell's kind of set sail from these 3 now, as now Miller's next in line. This is for, like I said, 7th position. And even further back, DeWeese is still trying to find a way by Justin Anasogak as he's had to catch him back.
Through 13 and 14, the 09 of Senesac, it just needs a solid run. He's all the way down in 33rd in the points, doesn't have a top 5 or top 10 on the season. Needs something to kind of turn his luck around before we head into the playoffs. Meanwhile, Alex Bell makes a stop down pit road.
Yeah, 20 laps to go this time through, so stopping at the 1/3 mark. Are you going to split this into 3/3, or are you just going to pit now and get it over with?
He's probably pitting now, getting over with. I don't see any advantage to pitting an extra time. You're not going to make that time back up, as Weishart and Miller still going to battle. Looks like Weishart's going to get that 8th position back from Jeremy Miller, but no, you're definitely not pitting 2 times. It's a 1 stop, or if you could save a bunch of laps, a 0 stop, but it should be 1 stop.
Well, these guys having solid runs as 27 still leads 0.8 of a second over the 7 of Scioli. Things have seemed to calm down, and he's starting to build that gap again.
I almost wonder if having those 2 wins under his belt makes him a little. You see a big wheel lock up into turn 10 down here, but you almost just wonder if the wins under Travis's belt make him a little bit more aggressive, because all he knows that if he just earns a couple of points and keeps finishing how he's finishing, he'll do all right. But, you know, he's got the win, so as soon as he gets into the playoffs, he's going to be seated right up at the top.
He's still got to get there first. I mean, there's only like top 10s of the season, if I remember correctly. I got to go back to look at it, but it's just been a very weird season where, besides his 2 wins, he's had nothing go his way. He has 2 wins. Those are his only finishes inside the top 20, actually. So it's been even worse. He's had no luck besides his wins. So he, you know, you say it's as simple as getting into the top 20, but Jeremy Miller pits from 9th, but with how Beckner's season's gone, it's not that simple.
It's literally either checkers or wreckers for that 27, so hopefully everyone that in the Beckner household in Hendrick County Motorsports Park, they want this to be a checker sort of night, not a wrecker, but the 7 of Scioli closing back in to the bumper of Beckner.
I think this is going to make the strategy of when they pit so crucial. They're 4 seconds slower, at least Beckner was. Okay, 3.2, but still a significant amount slower than they were at the start of this race. That means that if Scioli pits a lap early, he's going to have a pretty enormous advantage, Connor. So that you have to consider, do I want to pit on the same lap and maintain my advantage, or do I want to try to play some strategy to have better tire or to get a bigger lead?
I think someone like Scioli and Nichols might have to think about maybe short pitting at least 1 lap. We saw Marin do that, get the lead away on Tuesday night, but the slowdowns are what cost him. Beckner's just got to try to kind of guess when the 7 and 73 are going to pit and try not to get undercut. I think a 1-lap undercut wins this race, as Miller, fresh off of pit road, gets by Garrett Grant. I saw the 8 of Slaughter also came down that same lap, but it only takes 1 lap of undercutting and good pit entry, pit exit to win this race for one of those top 4. Starting to see Zachary Karp maybe fall a little bit. We'll see. He might be one of the first to pit, as Beckner did not get through the final chicane as well as he needed to, and Scioli does have a run.
He did the same thing the last time through, and now the 7's going to look to the inside, going to have the inside advantage going on. 1 contact. They're trading pace for the lead. Beckner's going to go wide, and he's going to scrape some of the grass into the 7 of Scioli. Jake Nichols right behind, trying to close in on the fight.
Yeah, that's not surprising how that happened, Kyle. We saw Scioli get really close to Beckner, and it was too close. Kind of forced Beckner to go wide there, and Beckner kind of gave it right back, saying, you're going to hit me, I'll hit you right back. Kind of drove the 7 wide, but it did not put Scioli off of the rear bumper of Beckner.
No, this is just a short track in disguise here. You're going to lean on each other if you have to. Scioli knocked Beckner out of the way for turn 1, but Beckner didn't have to completely cut the track. And because he was able to save it, he door slammed the 7 back and keeps the lead. And now he's mad too. So, this is what you have to play with. And maybe for Scioli, playing with the emotions is a strategy.
I think what Jake Nichols did was also a strategy. I think he could have passed the 7 of Scioli. He chose not to, letting them race amongst themselves once again, because if they come into contact again, it might spell disaster for both of them, and then the 73 would be right there to pick up the scrap. So I think that's the right call to let these 2 race. But I think all these 4 got to start thinking about who is going to get the pit lane first. It is a 4-way battle for this lead. Zachary Carr is still right in tow because of that contact especially. I mean, these 4 have left the field, and it only takes 1 lap of undercutting to get that victory.
Yeah, over 13 seconds separating the top 4 from 5th place John Furness, as, again, they're going to go through 13 and 14, and, looked like Beckner did clip the white on that entry into 13. The past couple of times he didn't do that, and that's what allowed the 7 to close in. But he's still on the bumper, just not alongside the 27.
There's a big send, but is he going to open the door? He is. Down to the inside of the 27 for turn 1. Almost gets an overlap alongside him, but he'll have to settle in behind for now. This is getting hands-on up here at the front of the field. We'll say 17 laps to go.
And more pit stops. Weishart's in, Mitchell's in. They come from the 6th and 7th position. You can see Scioli wanted to get alongside there, but couldn't do it. But he got alongside the lap before. A little bit of neck code maybe, but just trying to pinch the 27 too tight. So Beckner knew if he didn't get back on track, he had to slow down. So he kind of used that to his advantage to kind of get the 7 back offline and get him back off his back for at least a little while longer.
And Nichols went wide, just following the tire tracks of Travis Beckner there. And Kyle DeShoga on the left. Guys with 0 on pit stops, they haven't been to pit road, but with 1, these guys have. And the furthest up, Jeremy Miller and Bryce Sensack, they've already made their pit stops, and they're good to go for the rest of the race.
Yeah, I start to think about it now, because next time will be lap 15. So maybe not this time, but the end of next is going to be your halfway point mathematically. So if you want to just split it equally, make it as easy as possible, do that. But the guy behind you or directly in front of you is going to make you not want to do it exactly evenly, Connor. I think you'd like to play, if you're Beckner, I mean, you'd really like to keep that 7 car behind you for sure, which means that you might have to run long, but in that case, he can fake you out to pit lane, and then he's going to beat you.
I would not be surprised if someone would pit now, but the problem with pitting
There goes
now...
Jake.
Nichols, that's exactly what I was going to say. I think the tough thing about pitting now is that when you're right behind someone, you don't get as good of an entrance as you would have if you were on your own. Beckner at least has that advantage, but I fully agree with Jake Nichols doing this. 1 lap could get him the race lead here, and it's right before halfway. I thought Zachary Carr should have done it, but the 73 jumped the gun.
Well, we'll see how it works out in the end for Jake Nichols. John Furnison as well going to follow suit, as the 7 still on the bumper of Travis Beckner through 3 and into 4. And Zachary Carr now sits in the catbird seat if anything happens to these front 2.
Scioli's really applying the pressure now. This is a critical stage for this, because if James Scioli can get the lead away now, it would kind of change Beckner's strategy, maybe actually help the 27, because it would let him be able to make the I think if you're close and in trail, Connor, you have kind of some of the bargaining power with when to pit.
And you know what's really important is Nichols came out in 4th anyways because Furness and Cedric Hunter pit, so he's out in fully clean air. He doesn't have to pass anyone like the 30 of Miller did, so that could end up being an even bigger advantage for the 73. I think, unless you think fresh tires are going to get you through dirty air, I think Beckner might have to pit right now.
I don't think fresh tires of a lap difference will do much of anything. A little contact down here at the hairpin.
This is going to be interesting because other than that, John Forbes Jr. is the only other one that I can see, and he's in only 12th, that have yet to pit besides the top 3. And it looks like Beckner, with his entry, is he going to be able to make the corner, or is he going to pit?
He's pitting.
Scioli's going to follow him through.
I'm not shocked by that at all. I think all 3 of them had to respond. Now we see the kind of the mashup. You do have that pit exit where you kind of straight line past turn 1 and come out right in turn 2. So that might make a big difference for these 3 as well. as Jake Nichols is down the back straightaway into the braking zone for 13 and 14 right now.
Big commitment.
He really got through those curves there.
He did, and he's got to, because this is time he needs to make up. As Scioli
passed him.
Yeah, he's going to pass him, I think. Big lockup.
They're going to come out together, Beckner and Scioli. Beckner went through the 7, perks of iRacing there to get Beckner back in front of the 7, but the 73 gets the race lead, and that was really tight on the white line for the 7 and the 27.
I was about to say, Beckner did have a tight exit as well through that white line, so not sure if everything's going to be, I think everything's going to be good as far as that, but for now, the leader is going to be the 73 and Nichols, about 2 seconds over the 27 to Beckner.
And again, I don't know that one lap of tire is going to make a huge difference here. At least not enough to break through a guy like Jake Nichols, who is going for the weak sweep. Has anyone ever done that in area history? Stats people?
I think Scioli did that. Yep.
Season 4 or 5. I think it was 5.
5.
Get out the broom, because Jake Nichols has the commanding lead. Now, it is shrinking already, so that's something to note. But once Beckner gets there, how patient will he be in trying to get around? Or will he get there is the other question.
I would be surprised if he didn't get there, but I'm interested to see how he would race Jake Nichols. We saw how aggressive. Aggressive goes around.
That's
2016 up and the waiting game.
Go back into traffic, and there they go.
That's the tough part about it, because you don't want to back up into the racing line through that part of the racetrack, and just the slightest bit of contact between Stafford and Slaughter.
Yeah, it's a big send from the 8. He gets down to the inside and washes out.
He didn't give Stafford room, though. Stafford he had his right sides on the grass, so if you're going to go side by side through there, you got to give some room, and that didn't work out for either of them. Both of them are going to go down the order almost outside the top 20.
That battle fizzles for now. Alex Bell, Casey Lakatos are back at it for 11th place. And a little awkward bounce there. That's going to give a spot up here. I think that'll be a slowdown to serve. Don't mind that, because battle for 5th is on Senesac and Furness, but I don't think this will be a long-lived fight. Senesac's on slightly older tires, and Furness goes through.
And Furness is still set for a top 5, even with the right front damage. Not sure where he hit the wall, but the right front fender definitely a little dinged up, but not really hurting his pace too much at this point.
Is that he got a little too close to the wall of champions, and that's where the damage came from. But there comes Bell to the inside of Alex Bell, so Bell on Bell action.
Bell on Bell crime for 12.
And Matthew Bell beats Alex Bell out of turn 5.
Good run for the 15 Bruins so far. 8 points to the good coming into tonight, so a run like this would help. Senesac's not going to make that backstretch chicane and give up the position to Weishart and Greg Mitchell.
Looked like he will hopped it going into, what was that, turn 8?
Yeah, just got it all wrong. Wheel hopped it. I've noticed that earlier, that we're wheel hopping a lot more tonight than we were on Tuesday. And that's just when, again, you've got that rear brake locking. And because the rear tires are tied together with that solid axle, you just get a bounce like basketballs. And the only way to undo it or to stop it from happening is to let off the brake pedal. That's really hard to do in these heavy braking zones. And a Sogak under fire from Braxton Deweese. This is for 14th place.
Deweese still trying to figure out how to get by the 88 of Anna Sogak. They'll go side by side through this straightaway. Cedric Hunter, Jeremy Miller also side by side. This is not where you want to be side by side. Miller deeper under the brakes, and he's going to get that spot back. Will Hunter set up the crossover? He did, but didn't get the run. And Miller's back here because he had contact with Weishart in that final chicane that kind of put him down the order as Deweese clear of the 88.
Yeah, it's for 14th on the racetrack, and Sogak with a little bit wiggly coming out of that final turn. Gap still 1.3 seconds between Nichols and Travis Beckner. Lap times are somewhat similar, a 140.98 for Nichols, 140.93 for Beckner, and then Scioli used 3 seconds back, 140.97. So similar lap times for the top 3. However, the car behind him, they're still duking it out for 9th here.
That was about as close as you're going to get. Watch this side by side here through the chicane. And they left each other plenty of room here, but then at this point, the 30 is committed back to the throttle, and the 70, man, that is tight quarter stuff there.
He gave him just enough to where he had to at least contemplate it a little bit, as DeWeese trying to get Alex Bell now. Almost had a repeat of Stafford and Slaughter, but Bell's wide. No grip out there. That should give the 13 a good run down into the second chicane of the track as Anisogak looks on.
Big commitment, maybe too much for DeWeese. Going to get it slowed down. Yes, he does. Anisogak locked up down there.
That's the one I was looking at.
And these two are, Miller, they're both going to miss the corner a little bit, but Miller's going to get back clear of Cedric Hunter for the 9th position. Here we go.
How did this happen? Jake Nichols loses the lead to Beckner and had to have been a slowdown.
Slowdown in the final chicane, I think.
And he's still serving it looks like. Let's go back a little further.
Yep, there goes Scioli for second. Just like Sebastian Marin last Tuesday night, and he has to give up all that time. Same exact thing. Got the undercut, got the lead out of it, gave it up with a slowdown, and now Beckner is in a great spot.
Really great spot. Kind of similar to what we had before the race.
Oh, Scioli's got one now.
Oh, no.
Goodness. That's exactly what Travis Beckner wants to see. All of them get slowdowns. He could pull away. Now Zachary Carr is up to the 3rd position. Miller and Hunter. Cedric Hunter just turned Jeremy Miller in turn number 2.
Well, we saw it coming with how much back and forth these two were doing. Let's see. Oh, yeah, he just gets in there and...
Now that was Tagliani Villeneuve.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
And Miller will not be too pleased, I'm sure. But yeah, you could see there Hunter. I mean, maybe he's trying to cross over, but he never gets inside. Boots Miller.
Yeah, that exactly looked like that. He was trying to get to the inside, and the opportunity wasn't there, and just kind of clipped that quarter panel, and around went the 30. So, a shame for him. He was having a top 10 run going, and falls all the way down to 12th. So, not too far down on the leaderboard. Can still salvage a good finish out of this.
So, Travis Beckner now has 2.6 seconds. Don't blow this. I mean, you've got a lead that will take a lot of tire to run down. 11 laps to go. It's still 18 minutes worth of racing, Connor. So you've got to be mindful that you've got a gap and you just don't need to throw it away doing something silly.
Yeah, he just needs to be smooth. Forbes and Fambro are going to try to go smooth here. Forbes is going to get the 21st position there. But yeah, Travis Beckner doesn't need to do anything crazy. He just needs to hit his marks, and I don't know if the 73 can really get there unless he pushes way hard. And he has older tires to boot too.
Gonna have to hope for some lap traffic also to kind of play a factor into this. So still time for anything to happen. I mean, we've seen just about everything occur in this race so far. Still 11 to go. Then the 73 is gonna have to put everything in his power to close in the 27 without going off track again.
It's hard because sometimes, again, I mentioned earlier, diminishing returns. The harder you push, the more you lose. It's going to have to be light on the pedals, get the shifts right, get the chicanes right. You still stand a chance, but Jake Nichols locking up the brakes there, and it just isn't going to stop. And I was talking about the wheel hop. I'm not sure if it's going to get captured here, but watch the rear tires when he gets late in this braking zone. They're just going to, you see them bouncing right there. You see the whole car actually bouncing.
Oh, yeah.
Whole chassis. You could hear it on the onboard, how bad it was, and I don't know how much time it really cost him, but certainly going to wear the tires out a little more. He just clipped the wall of champions. I don't think he got damaged, but you can see that wheel hop he's really struggling with, and he kind of missed the exit in that chicane as here comes Zachary Carr. Here goes Scioli trying to get by the 97 of Zachary Carr.
Podium paying position. Carr gets a little bit wiggly there through turn 1. Scioli going to power through on the outside in turn 2. It's going to be a drag race into 3.
A little wiggly. And Scioli will win the acceleration duel and grab the spot for now. Similar fight, John Furness, David Weishart. This is for 5th place. Been a quiet night for these guys. Same with Greg Mitchell. Just quietly running in 7th after starting this race in 8th. I wouldn't be disappointed with a night like that.
Yeah, definitely a quiet night that I think all of them will take, especially I think Greg Mitchell would take this as well. It's definitely the night I think he would be a fan of. He's 10 points of a good coming in tonight, so a night like this should really help him.
Anyway, one driver who wouldn't be too mad about the way his night's been is Bryce Senesac. He's running in 8th, really his best race of the season. again, outside the top 30 in points, and it's just been plagued by bad luck over and over. So to see this, it's a solid night for the 09. If he can keep a clean car, he'll have a solid top 10 to leave Canada with.
Easy to spot this car from a mile away, too. That helps in traffic. 10 laps to go. Battle for the lead has fizzled, but we've still got this going on. John Forbes Jr. rear end walking all over the racetrack, chasing Garrett Grant through turn 5.
Forbes 15 points back coming in tonight, so he needs all the points he can get. Not Greg Mitchell, Garrett Grant also a little further down the order in points, so both drivers trying to hold on for just solid finishes or try to get what they can. They both kind of started around each other and have kind of followed each other up through the order 5 or 6 spots. Fambro, Ben Pierce also in behind for 22nd. A little bit of a closer battle. Still got all sorts of battles around the racetrack from the race lead all the way back to the top 25 battles.
Yeah, race lead starting to diminish a little bit now, down to 2.3 between Beckner and Nichols, as Fambro and Ben Pierce are going to duke it out, head into the hairpin.
People ask why I like road racing, and this track and car combination is an example of it. You just get battles everywhere the whole time. You get strategy in play, and you just get to drive lap after lap and get into the zone. And Travis Beckner was a little slower. By a little, I mean he was a half a second slower. So if Nichols can do that, 4 or 5 more times, he'll be right on the heels of the 27 again.
It's just going to be really tough to keep that consistent time down, and also for Beckner to not pick up speed if he needs to. I just wouldn't be surprised if Beckner's trying to save anything that he needs to in case the 73 does get there, as that battle we were just looking at, Ben Pierce got turned around somehow.
Well, through the wall of champions he goes.
Whoop, caught a little late here. Let's go back.
Wonder if they got side by side at a bad time or something, or did maybe just...
Oh, he just locked it up
he's
on
not
his
even...
own.
That was a smart overcorrect, though, to not head towards that wall of champions. Just got it offline and kept going.
It's a great point. Whenever you go to a road course, Hunter, if you know where you can escape safely instead of trying to save the car, it's one of the old adage, know how to crash. If you're going to be out of control, you pick a place and point the car where you want to go, as my motorsports director at Grid Life, Adam Jabay, always says. Even if you're out of control, look where you want to go, you'll end up there. And oftentimes you're going to want to end up in that big pavement runoff rather than in the fence.
Or into another car, because that's just going to be more impact for you, and then for the guy that's the innocent bystander in all this. But yeah, good job from Ben Pierce on avoiding calamity with the 18 of Colin Fambro, or any more calamity. John Forbes Jr. still looking to get around the 5 of Garrett Grant.
The Weishart and Furnace is closing back up again. They're way on the other end of the racetrack down here at 4 and 5.
The big zoom there.
Yeah.
That was...
And Beckner that time still a little slower than Nichols, but was a little better than the prior lap.
Yes, yeah, it's gained maybe 0.4 of a second, but doesn't seem like he was able to maintain it this lap, at least for the time being. Beckner's got all the room in the world at this point. He's just got to maintain at this point, as Furnace is trying to maintain 5th. It's really the first battle Furnace has had to deal with, as Forbes and Grant get side by side, get a little too close. Forbes has to give room, but until now, Furnace hadn't really been challenged by the 33 of Weishart, or really anyone else for 5th, but Weishart has chased him down. Maybe that right front damage is starting to hurt the 28, as Weishart has a lot more grip.
Oh, trying to get around the 28 as best as he can, try to cross him over.
Slow down. Or I think he had to slow down, gave up a lot of time there.
Yeah, and you just can't have that. And he's actually he's going to miss turn 1, and Skyly will go on through. And Skyly, I don't know that he is quicker than Travis Beckner at the moment. Here's Miller and DeWeese. Miller is actually recovering quite nicely from that spin. I think he would have liked to have been where he was, but P12 after getting looped like that isn't so bad.
But you can tell he's struggling. He's still going to fall back. He has no rear grip. You can see how long it took for his rear tires to light up, and that's all Braxton DeWeese needed to take that 12th position. So he's got to really tiptoe around the racetrack for the rest of this race.
Oh, bad exit there for the 13 of DeWeese. Miller still close on that bumper. He's going to look to the outside of turn 1 on the right side of DeWeese, but not going to be enough.
Oh, Deweese is in
Oh,
hot.
wow. Not even close.
That's just pressure from behind mounting, Connor, and it just takes one little mistake.
Yeah, it just takes being off of your braking zone by just one little particle, really, and then you're going to be missing the corner. He loses that position back to Miller, has to do all that work all over again. Zach Nichols a lap down, just lets him on by as Weishart still lighting up the 28 of Furness, but can't find a way to go through yet. See if he gets a better run out of the chicane. Furness went a little wide, but not really close enough unless he wants to go for a dive.
Well, I think he's going to want to dive into that hairpin, try to get the position from the 28. Well, they'll send it a little more on the outside, get him squirrely on exit. Here he comes, battle for 5th. Oh, the hairpin.
Gosh, leaving that hairpin is so slow. And big slide there for John Furness. He might lose this before they get to the corner, and he will. Now he's going to have to tuck in and respond. But when you leave that hairpin, you just want to accelerate. You want to hammer down and go. And you don't have enough mechanical advantage. You're just lugging even in first gear. Weishart turns into the chicane, and that was a little better executed there at the exit by Furness.
Yeah, well, what happened to Furness, he got in the grass on the left-hand side, and that's kind of what forced him to get loose a little bit there. As Furness is gonna take a look back to the inside in turn 1, but not close enough. He's gonna have to try to just shadow the 33 of Weishart, maybe force him into a mistake to try to get that position back. As Casey Lakatos, Matthew Bell, they're gonna do battle for a position for the top 10. This would be a great result for the 50 to get a top 10. He started back in the 21st position. He's one of the biggest movers of the night.
Really solid showing for the 43 of Bell, still trying to crack in the top 10, being held by Casey Lakatos, who's having a solid night himself.
Yeah, Connor, you noted the 21st to 10th. Great climb for this number 50. Has some work to do to keep Bell behind him, though. Bell's a little quicker at the moment. Does have slightly older tires, though, so that might assist in the defense. And Alex Bell and Justin Enesogak are going at it for 14th place.
15's been pretty consistent tonight. Only one position ahead of where he started. Enesogak's up 3 positions, trying to make it 4 positions. Brody Falker's further back in 16th. He's actually one of the biggest movers as well. He started 28th. Blaze McKinney started 33rd. He's up to 17th, and what he needs to have a good point stay as well, as Bell's trying to hold off the 88.
Justin Enesogak there in the 88. This is for the 14th position, heading through turn 8. A little lockup there from Enesogak, and gonna have to try and get a good exit through 9 and try to reel in the 15 of Bell again through the hairpin.
5 laps to go, and they're counting down. Travis Beckner leads the way by 4 seconds, nearly 4 seconds. And he has been the dominant force in this race. And there was a chance that it could have slipped away from him. He wasn't really catching Jake Nichols all that much. And then all the lead went away, plus some, and Nichols hasn't been able to recover, just like, Connor, you said is what happened to the 32 on Tuesday.
Same exact thing, and besides the 32 was able to hold on to second, Jake Nichols has not even been able to do that. This is not what you want to see in the final chicane, but they're going to try at the 88. Little too deep over the curb, and Bell kind of played that perfectly to get the crossover, get the run on Enesogak, get that position back, or keep the position, I should say. But yeah, the exact same thing. Jake Nichols just a little too overzealous over that final curbing when he really didn't need to do that too much, because he had a decent gap over Beckner, and it's cost him 6 seconds to the 27 because he's done it multiple times now.
Yeah, looking through, Beckner was about 3/10 quicker that last time than Scioli, and 7/10 quicker than the 73 of Nichols. So cool, calm, and collected. 3.5 second lead with less than 5 to go. This battle for 14th not over just yet.
How about a battle for 20th place? Alex Weaver, Shane Theriot, Colin Fambro, all for position here.
Weaver's kind of came through the field. Fambro's kind of stayed put in 22nd this entire race, while Weaver and Theriot have gone by him, as Fambro's not going to make that corner, and is going to lose even more time to the 9 of Theriot, who's still trying to go after the 29 of Weaver.
Oh, wow. That was a really wide turn there for Fambro. He got on the wall.
Oh, man. I don't know how Weaver made that corner. I thought he was sliding, but Enesogak back in front of the 15 of Alex Bell.
We go back again to this fight, just left and right, playing whack-a-mole with the battles on the racetrack at the moment.
Oh, Theriot's way too deep. I thought he was going to slam the 29 of Weaver there, but he's going to miss the corner himself. Now he's going to go back to the 18 of Fambro for that 22nd position.
Reeling them back in, heading into the hairpin. 21st up for grabs. Fabro can get a deep enough lunge, and he's going to not do that. So he's going to play it smart and live to see another race. But Weaver went wide, and now all three of these guys are going to be bunched up again at some point.
Accelerating up out of the hairpin. I think it'll be a lap or two before they're condensed back together. Travis Beckner is approaching 3 laps to go in that 27. And he's got some lap traffic on the horizon, so I know the gap's big, guys, but it just takes one mistake to throw away a couple of seconds worth.
It only takes one bad apple not letting you by to cause drama as well, but I don't expect that from those 3 that are ahead of them. Don't know. I mean, those are for position, I think. I don't think Bryson is for position with those other 2, but Ben Pierce and Brad Slaughter will be battling for position as Hector got really close to that final wall of champions. He's not letting anything go. He's still driving as hard as he has been, as Jake Nichols maybe the opposite. He's fallen back even further. 7 seconds to the 27 as Furness has fallen back a little bit more. Greg Mitchell gets by.
Yeah, he went wide here through the hairpin, and with ease went the 2 of Greg Mitchell around Furness. But yeah, lap traffic going to be a little bit of a factor, at least temporarily, for the 27 of Beckner.
Yeah, he's got plenty of it, and the gap has come down quite a ways already. 3.3, well, it's growing a little bit now, but it's not over till it's over. And he's going to have to put in the work the next 2.5 laps.
Slaughter kind of just let Ben Pierce by there for that position, as Slaughter's just going to give way to the race leader. Ben Pierce will not. Maybe just trying to build a gap on Slaughter by doing that, which is not the worst thing to do, but I think when Beckner gets closer, he will let him by, as Skyle's got to navigate that traffic now. It's going to hurt him a little bit more, I think.
Oh! Hey, these 2 are still nose to tail.
And they were both really throwing it down there. Fambro has the advantage now over the 9 still, but again, we've still got laps left. Blaze McKinney and John Forbes Jr. trading spots for 17th. That's because of a slowdown on the 87. Skyly not close enough to take advantage of that lap traffic. He really didn't gain a lot or anything on this lap.
I think at this point he needs something to happen to Beckner. Beckner needs to beat himself, or someone else has to get into him. You're not gaining that time in 2 laps.
Yeah, that's pretty much what he needs, is just a mistake to happen. Oh, and mistake behind Alex Weaver through the wall of champions.
I don't know if he even... No damage on the 29.
He just got in there really hot, and he just walked it around.
Ooh, yeah, I don't think he hit it. Just lazy slide and maybe kissed it trying to get back around, but that could have been a lot worse. Especially he was right behind Zachary Carr in 4th.
Man, it's like every time you hit the wall, it's like credit card debt. It's like everybody's hit it a little bit, but everyone else hit it a little bit more than me.
Yeah.
I'm a little better than average. 2 laps to go for the race leader, and Travis Beckner leads by 3.2 seconds. There's Skyly in the way back around the teal car. And he is just so in the zone right now.
Ooh, missed a little bit there, but still in the zone, so focused.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned on his season that if he hasn't won, it's been 20th or worse. And honestly, at this stage in the championship, as long as you can get yourself in that top 20 by winning enough times, I'll take that. When you get to the playoffs is really when you need to hit your stride with consistency.
Yeah, right now, he's not in the playoffs, but if he gets into the top 20 and gets his 3rd win tonight, he'd be seeded 4th for the title fight. That's just how important those wins could end up being, but even past tonight, he's just got to get there. Because this battle will not go away.
No, it will not. Alex Bell, just Santa Sogak still duking it out. They've got another driver behind him.
Falliker.
I believe that's, the 42 of Brody Falliker starting to close in on this mix. And oh wow, really closing in. Oh my gosh. There goes Santa Sogak. Wow. Yeah, he really wanted to start himself in that battle.
And he did.
It's like, hi, I'm here.
I always say you can do anything once.
Yeah, but don't do that again.
He got away with it that time.
Ooh, 15 looks deep. Yeah, he is. Here comes the 88 as Beckner has taken the white flag lap, but Anna Sogak had to check up for the 15. It's going to cost him to spot the Brody Falliker.
Wow. We're not done back here, guys. 2.6 to the lead. Scioli's gained, but this is where the action is right now for 14th place.
Definitely the closest battle on the racetrack right now. Miller and DeWeese are close as well as 88 goes wide. The 42 pretty much cut the corner there. I think he might have to give up some time. The 88 got into him a little bit. I think Faliker might have been trying to serve something. Couldn't really tell, but 88 got into
papers by the 88 is what just happened.
That's one way to put it, I suppose, as Travis Beckner probably in the final section of the track at this point. Miller and DeWeese are close for 12th. They have a whole lap to go as well, as Travis Beckner is all alone, exactly the sight he wants to see.
Well, checkers are wreckers, and if he can get through the Casino Straight and the Wall of Champions just fine, Kyle, it'll be another checker for Travis Beckner.
Well, you know, confidence and commitment are not the issue for the 27. Sometimes it's just bottling all of it up and saving it for the right moment. But this wine this week is going to be extra sweet for Travis Beckner through the final 2 corners at Montreal. And not even by a small margin. It's 3 seconds. Travis Beckner wins his 3rd win of the season, and he'll celebrate in style on the front straightaway.
Not going to waste any time getting the burnouts, that's for sure. Scioli 2nd, Jake Nichols probably a disappointing 3rd, Zachary Carr 4th, and still pretty far back to 5th place. Weishart, Mitchell, Furness. Is that farther sub battle? Miller and DeWeese very, very close coming into the hairpin, but Miller is not giving him driver's right. He is forcing DeWeese to the outside, and DeWeese is going to take it.
For 12th on the racetrack, 12th and 13th duking it out in the hairpin. Miller goes wide. Here comes DeWeese to the inside.
And he's got it. Now it's one last run down the straightaway. Can Miller respond? It was a wiggle, and he almost sounded like the clutch was slipping there. It didn't even sound like tire spin, but he's losing too much of a gap, I think, to recover unless DeWeese makes a mistake in the final corner.
DeWeese had him earlier, made a mistake in turn 1. Miller is diving deep. He's looking to the inside, maybe trying to force DeWeese into a mistake, and he couldn't really do anything. So DeWeese is going to keep that spot further back. It looks like Alex Bell's going to keep 14th from Brody Faliker, as Faliker got Anna Sogak in that final lap, unless he misses the corner, which he didn't. And even further back, some other battles trying to go on. Fambro and Therian. Looks like that battle's done as well. As did the 88 run out, or is he just coasting? I think he's just coasting.
A lot of DNFs tonight from 27th on back. But what a race for Travis Beckner in that 27. I'm sure he'll be enjoying this celebration in a big way. Let's have a look at our race results here. Beckner gets it done. 3rd win on the season. He has to earn those points, but winning is the best way to grab them. Scioli, Nichols, Carr, Weishart your top 5. Then Mitchell, Furness, Senesac, Hunter, and Lakatos wrap out your top 10, Connor. As the 11th through 20th had some great battles tonight.
It really did. DeWeese got Miller at the very end. As congratulations from the 8 of Slaughter to the 27 of Beckner. Jeremy Miller will probably be upset about how that went. He had contact from 2 different drivers who finished in the top 10. He still scraped a 13th place together. Bell, Faliker, and a Sogak. Forbes, McKinney from the back to the 18th position. Then Grant and Fambro had a great battle at some points there, rounding out the top 20. As we see Beckner doing his burnouts.
Shane Therian was the last car to finish on the lead lap in 21st. Everyone else finished at least a lap down or more. Then Pierce, Slaughter, Weaver, Robertson, Zach Nichols, Alexander Bryson, Bronson Stafford, Connor Kresick, and Rafe Slate round out the top there.
And the rest of the order drivers that had tough nights, Kemp, Abbey, Chapman, and Munsell, all out early with various crash damages and collisions. Alex Bell giving a congratulations there. But Travis Beckner wins at Montreal, but one of the drivers that came up a little bit short tonight, just 2 spots short of making a triple this week. Well, it wasn't a triple, but a double and a 3rd. Not a bad week, Jake. P3 tonight. But, man, it seemed like you had it in your fingertips, and then it just slipped right on through with a couple of slowdowns.
I don't know. I feel like crap tonight. The sickness did not get any better. I don't know. I was surprised I held on to those guys the first run. It was so hard to focus for me the whole time. Every time I felt like I was way quicker than what I was showing in practice and qualifying and even the start of the race. And then it was so hard to focus, man. I don't know. I didn't feel like I cut that hard when I got the slowdown, the one in the last chicane, but we'll look at it. And either way, those guys were all fast. I mean, it's not a bad thing finishing 3rd with this crew of drivers. So we'll take it. Obviously, it's not the triple, but we'll keep our top 5 streak alive of like, I don't know, 16, something like that, 17 of them in a row of all 3 series combined. So we'll take that. We got a bonus point for a lap led undercutting, so that's cool. But hopefully we show up Monday with this sickness out the back door and just try to win some more.
Well, get well soon, Jake. P3 tonight. Congratulations. And consistency is key when it comes to the playoffs. We know you know that, so
yeah.
We'll see you next time out. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
And James Skyley comes home in second place. And on a night when, things looked really good after qualifying, James. But that first run to turn 1, just like Sonoma, that 27, that pesky 27 got the lead. Came to blows a couple of times, but then down to strategy. Take us through your evening chasing that 27.
Yeah, a good win to Travis. He did not make any mistakes, so that was pretty good from him. I definitely felt like I had better long run speed, but just for the second time this year on the road courses, I guess I subconsciously decided that I didn't want to win. So unfortunately I got to slow down after I got past Jake, and after that was just way too far back to make use of the long run speed. So like I said, hats off to him. He definitely didn't make any mistakes. This track's just so tough. You got to slam into the curbs, and all the speed's hitting them, and the fine line is just stepping over a little bit too much and getting a slowdown. So definitely was a fun week for sure. Just unfortunate that I couldn't capitalize in Cup or this race either.
Well, fun week going right and left. The last time we'll do it this year, James, at least this season, I should say. James, congratulations on a P2. Not quite a win, but still a solid night. Thanks for talking.
Yeah, thanks guys. Huge shout out to you guys and the admin team for helping us each and every week. And then big shout out to David Weishart Racing. Glad that my mistake at the road course didn't cost me, a top 3 this time. And then huge shout out to Rick's Hot Sauce, Code Skyley, $7 off. And then Daniel Scandals, Butt Kicker, Matco Tools, Chris Sports Cards, Elwood Designs, and Roderick Racing Development. And we'll try and put it back on the podium next week.
Thanks, James.
Thanks, guys.
And Travis Beckner gets it done. Well, I was told about the craziest stat I'd ever heard of this season here, Travis, and that was that you've only finished 24th or better 3 times, and all 3 of those times are race wins. You finally get your way back into the top 20, so it means you qualified for the playoffs. You immediately jump near the top of the seeding. What is going on this season? Because it has just been diamonds or dust for you this year. What has it been?
I don't know. Wrong place, wrong time. Me being maybe too aggressive. But the aggressiveness worked out tonight. Got me the win. I don't know if y'all saw or not, but when I was coming out of pit road, I don't know how I didn't get an unsafe pit exit. But amazing race. Honestly, I hated the setup. This setup was not it. This thing was plowy. It was all over the place. It was so unstable under braking, but it just still I don't know what's going on this season.
I mean, obviously it's turning successful, although the rest of the results wouldn't make you believe it. But as we get closer to the playoffs, you have to maintain your top 20 status. So that's probably the first thing on the docket. But then when you get to the playoffs, how are you going to change the results that are not wins? Because as much as we don't love drivers to win all 5, that seems unlikely as far as the playoff races. So, I mean, are you going to have plans to finish anywhere other than first and better than 24th?
Hopefully, I'm able to finish first, but definitely not 24th. I need to keep this thing pointed straight in the right direction without any damage or anything, and finishing the races off. So, just need to keep it cool, calm, collective. Make it to the playoffs once the playoff comes around, and just go for it. And hopefully, I don't get in wrecks or cause a wreck or anything, because obviously I'm suspended for Monday next week. In my opinion, I shouldn't be, but it's whatever the admins say. It's their final call. I mean, yeah, I'm upset about it, but I got to get over it and look forward to the week after at Indianapolis for the Cup Series and get myself in the playoffs.
Well, they say to finish first, you must first finish, and it seems like whenever you finish first, it's really only when you finish. But Travis, 3rd win of the season. Congratulations. We look forward to seeing you again here next week and focusing back on the oval side as we head to my hometown. I'm actually in Chicagoland this weekend in Joliet, Illinois for Autobahn Country Club. Headed in there tomorrow morning, but we're headed to the 1.5 mile oval there. So we'll see you there.
Before I go, I'd like to thank my sponsors, Hendry County Motorsports Park, Ken Kenny for sponsoring the area and me, Central Mobile Home Sheds, Elite Entertainment, I think I'm missing one, I can't think right now. But my mom, my dad, my stepdad, grandparents who are watching, I'm sure they've texted me already saying, woo, you won! But y'all take the time out of your day to come broadcast this. Everybody that came out to watch tonight, and everybody that came out to race. I mean, like I said, the set wasn't as good as the other two, but yeah, just looking forward to next week in the playoffs as well. So,
Travis, congratulations. Thanks for talking to us. Third win in the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series season.
thank you.
Wow, guys, Travis has done it again, and it has just been a feast or famine, hasn't it, for the 27 this season, Connor? Big commitment tonight from Travis Beckner. Gets the job done. What a job he's done. He can focus forward now. He's in the playoffs, at least for now.
At least for now, but he still has to focus not towards the playoffs, but towards these next 4 races. He still has plenty of time to go, and anything could go wrong. I mean, he said himself, it's in his hands to not get involved in incidents, to not put himself down the order. How many times has he had a good run this season, not gotten the finishes? I think back to Darlington, he was in the top 5. It slipped away because of contact with another driver, not of his doing, not his fault, just a racing incident, but it's things like that that could put you outside the top 20, so he's still got a long way to go. He's got to get, I think, not more focused. I'm trying to think of the words, but he's just got to be more consistent, get the finishes that he needs to get, and not try to go for more and jeopardize the finish he was going to get. And he'll be solidly in the top 20 before you know it, but still work to do, Hunter.
Yeah, and a lot more work to do for Justin Bunsell, who falls 7 spots and down to 20th in the standings, but Skyly, despite not winning, moved up 6 spots in the 9th in the standings, so solid points day for him. Braxton DeWeese now moves into 3rd in the standings, so a little bit closer towards that top, being led by Jake Nichols, and, well, going to be going back to the ovals like some of the guys wanted, and it's going to be in your neck of the woods, Kyle. So looking forward to the good old Chicagoland Speedway Austin area this upcoming week.
Yeah, like I said, I'm headed pretty much right next to it tomorrow morning to Autobahn Country Club for Grid Life's Chicagoland special. And we'll be skipping the oval and running the South Road course there at Autobahn Country Club. But it'll be right in my neck of the woods next week with Chicagoland Speedway. Wish everyone a beautiful night. We'll see you next time out. And what a fun night of road racing. Last time for the season. It's a sad day for me. But we got plenty of great racing coming up this season. The Florida State Builders Area Pro Series, the Truck Series, and the Cup Series. We'll see you back right here on Monday for more area racing action. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.